Welcome to United Daily Updates, your most trusted source for Manchester United news. Hello everyone and welcome back to United Daily Updates, the best place on the internet for everything Manchester United. If you have not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do that right now. We bring you the latest news, transfer updates, match analysis, and insider information every single day. We work incredibly hard to be your most reliable and trusted source for all things Red Devils. Whether it is breaking news or detailed analysis, you can count on us to keep you informed. Now let's dive into today's important update. Introduction. Good news from the treatment room. Injuries are the worst part of football. As a fan, there is nothing more frustrating than watching your team struggle because key players are sitting in the treatment room instead of being out on the pitch where they belong. Every manager will tell you that having a fully fit squad is one of the most important factors in having a successful season. When players are injured, it limits your options, forces you to change your tactics, and often leads to dropped points. Manchester United have had their fair share of injury problems this season. Players have come and gone from the treatment room. Some injuries have been minor and short-term. Others have kept important players out for longer periods. Each absence creates a challenge for Ruben Amorim as he tries to build consistency and momentum at Old Trafford. But today we have some excellent news to share with you. One of Manchester United's key attacking players is back in training and could be available for selection very soon. Matheus Cunha, the talented Brazilian forward who has been missing from the squad for the past couple of games, was spotted training with the Manchester United group at Carrington on Wednesday. This is a significant boost for United as they prepare for a crucial Premier League match against West Ham United on Thursday evening. The timing could not be better. United are building momentum with some good recent results. They are climbing the table. They are starting to look like a team that knows what it is doing. And now they are getting important players back from injury at exactly the right time. In this comprehensive blog post, we are going to cover everything you need to know about Matheus Cunha's return to training. We will talk about why he has been out, what his absence has meant for the team, what qualities he brings when he is fit and available, and how his return could impact the crucial game against West Ham. We will also discuss the broader picture of squad fitness, the importance of depth, and what this all means for Manchester United's season going forward. So get yourself comfortable, maybe grab a cup of tea or coffee, and let's get into all the details of this important development. Who is Matheus Cunha and why does he matter? Before we talk about his injury and return, let's make sure everyone understands who Matheus Cunha is and why his availability matters so much to Manchester United. For some fans who might be newer to following United, or for those who want a refresher, this section will explain why this news is so significant. Background and career path. Matheus Cunha is a Brazilian footballer who plays as a forward. He was born in 1999, which makes him 26 years old at the time of writing. Like many Brazilian players, Cunha has technical ability, flair, and creativity that makes him exciting to watch. He came through the youth system in Brazil before moving to Europe to continue his career. Before joining Manchester United, Cunha played for several clubs across Europe. He had spells in Spain and England, gaining valuable experience in different leagues and different styles of football. This experience has made him a more complete player who can adapt to various tactical systems and different types of opponents. When Manchester United signed Cunha, it was seen as a smart piece of business. United were looking for attacking players who could provide creativity, goals, and versatility. Cunha ticked all those boxes. He was not the biggest name in world football, but he had the qualities that United needed and the potential to become even better at Old Trafford. Playing style and strengths. So what kind of player is Matheus Cunha? What does he bring to a team? Understanding his strengths helps us appreciate why his return from injury is such good news for Manchester United. First and foremost, Cunha is technically excellent. He has great control of the football. When the ball comes to him, it sticks. He can receive passes under pressure and keep possession even when defenders are closing him down. This technical security is really valuable, especially in the Premier League where the pace is high and physical challenges come from every angle. Second, Cunha is a creative player. He sees passes that other players might miss. He can thread the ball through tight spaces. He has vision and imagination. When United are struggling to break down a defense that is sitting deep and compact, having a player like Cunha who can produce a moment of creativity makes a huge difference. Third, Cunha is versatile in terms of the positions he can play. He is comfortable playing as a central striker. He can play out wide on either the left or right wing. He can operate as a second striker or in the space between midfield and attack. This versatility is gold for any manager because it provides tactical flexibility. Ruben Amorim can use Cunha in different roles depending on what the game requires. Fourth, Cunha brings a goal threat. While he is not just a pure goalscorer, he can definitely find the back of the net. He has good movement in the penalty area. He knows how to get into dangerous positions. He can finish with both feet. Having another player in your squad who can score goals is always valuable, especially when you are chasing top 4 and competing in multiple competitions. Finally, Cunha works hard for the team. Modern football demands that everyone contributes defensively, even the attackers. Gone are the days when forwards could just wait up front for the ball. They need to press, they need to track back, they need to help their teammates. Cunha understands this and he is willing to put in the work. This attitude makes him a good fit for what Amorim demands from his players. His importance to Manchester United. Given all these qualities, it is clear why Matheus Cunha is important to Manchester United. When you look at United's squad and their attacking options, Cunha provides something a bit different. He is not just another player who does the same thing as everyone else. He has his own unique set of qualities that add variety to United's attack. United have struggled at times this season to create enough clear chances. They have had games where they dominated the ball but could not turn that dominance into goals. They have faced teams who sit deep and make it difficult to break them down. In these situations, having a creative player like Cunha who can produce something special becomes crucial. His versatility also means that Ruben Amorim has more tactical options. If Amorim wants to change formation during a game, he can move Cunha into a different position rather than having to make a substitution. If injuries or suspensions hit other positions, Cunha can fill in and do a job. This kind of flexibility makes squad management much easier. Simply put, Manchester United are a better team when Matheus Cunha is fit and available. His absence over the past couple of games has been felt. His return now is a big boost at a crucial time in the season. The injury that kept him out. Now let's talk about why Matheus Cunha has been missing from the Manchester United squad. What happened? How did he get injured? How long has he been out? Understanding the full story helps us appreciate the significance of his return to training. A training ground knock. According to the information we have, Matheus Cunha picked up a knock during a training session. This injury occurred before Manchester United's home game against Everton last month. The knock was significant enough that the medical staff and coaching staff decided it was not worth risking him for the Everton match. Training ground injuries are always a bit frustrating for everyone involved. When a player gets injured during a competitive match, you can at least understand it. Football is a physical sport. There are tackles, collisions, and moments of intense physical exertion. Injuries happen and everyone accepts that as part of the game. But when someone gets hurt during training, it feels a bit unlucky. Training is supposed to prepare you for matches, not put you in the treatment room. However, the reality is that training these days is very intense. Players train at high speed. They practice physical situations. They work hard to improve their fitness and sharpness. With all this intensity, injuries can happen even in training. We do not have specific details about exactly how Cunha got his knock. It could have been a collision with a teammate during a practice game. It could have been an awkward movement that strained a muscle. It could have been a tackle that went a bit wrong. Whatever the exact cause, the result was that Cunha sustained an injury that required him to miss games. The decision to keep him out. When a player gets injured, there is always a decision to make about how to manage the situation. Do you try to get them back as quickly as possible, even if they are not fully fit? Or do you take a more cautious approach and make sure they are completely recovered before playing again? Manchester United and their medical staff chose the cautious approach with Cunha, and that was absolutely the right decision. The knock he sustained was significant enough that rushing him back could have made it worse. If you play someone who is not fully fit, they are more likely to suffer a more serious injury that keeps them out for even longer. By keeping Cunha out of the Everton game, United were protecting their player and thinking long-term. Yes, they missed having him available for that match. But it is better to have him out for 2 games and then back at full fitness than to risk him in the Everton game and potentially lose him for 2 months. This kind of sensible injury management is important. Too many times in football, we see players rushed back before they are ready because the team desperately needs them. Then they break down again and end up missing even more time. It becomes a vicious cycle. United were smart to avoid that trap with Cunha. Missing the Everton match. The Everton game was Cunha's first absence, and it was particularly bad timing because United really could have used him. Everton came to Old Trafford, and unfortunately for the home fans, they left with all 3 points. Manchester United lost at home, which is always disappointing but especially so when it is against a team you should really be beating. Home games are precious in the Premier League. You are expected to win your home games, especially against teams in the lower half of the table. Old Trafford should be a fortress where visiting teams struggle to get results. When United lose at home, it is a major setback for their season. Could Matheus Cunha have made a difference if he had been available? We will never know for certain, but his presence would have given United more options in attack. Maybe his creativity would have unlocked Everton's defence. Maybe his movement would have created space for teammates. Maybe he would have scored the goal that changed the game. These are all possibilities. What we do know is that United did not have enough quality and creativity on the pitch that day to break down Everton and get the win. Having Cunha available might not have guaranteed victory, but it certainly would have improved United's chances. Also missing the Crystal Palace game. Cunha's absence continued into Manchester United's next Premier League fixture, which was away at Crystal Palace. This meant he had now missed 2 consecutive league games because of the training ground knock. For a player who was an important part of the squad, this was a significant absence. However, the Crystal Palace game had a much better outcome than the Everton match. United went to Selhurst Park and got a hard-fought victory. The game was not easy. Palace scored first and United had to come from behind. But goals from Joshua Zirkzee and Mason Mount secured all 3 points and moved United up to 7th place in the Premier League table. This was an important win for several reasons. It showed character and resilience. United could have folded after going behind, but instead they kept fighting and found a way to win. It continued the recent improvement in results that has eased some of the pressure on Ruben Amorim. And it kept United in the race for European qualification. The fact that United won without Cunha shows that the squad has some depth and that other players can step up when needed. Zirkzee and Mount delivered when the team needed them. This is positive and shows that United are not completely dependent on 1 or 2 players. However, winning without Cunha does not mean his absence was not felt. Maybe with Cunha available, United would not have gone behind in the first place. Maybe they would have scored more goals and won more comfortably. Maybe Amorim would have had better options on the bench to change the game if things were not going well. Having quality players available is always better than not having them, regardless of whether you win without them. The nature and severity of the injury. One positive aspect of this whole situation is that Cunha's injury does not appear to be too serious. The fact that it is described as a knock suggests it is more of a minor impact injury or bruising rather than something structural like a ligament tear or fracture. Knocks are common in football. Players get them all the time. Sometimes a knock can be quite painful and limit your movement for a few days, but with proper rest and treatment, they usually heal relatively quickly. The key is not to rush back too soon and risk turning a minor injury into something more serious. The fact that Cunha is now back in training after missing just 2 games suggests that the injury has healed well and that he has responded positively to treatment. The medical staff at Manchester United would have monitored him closely, assessed his progress day by day, and only cleared him to return to full training once they were confident he was ready. This cautious but effective approach to injury management is what every club should aim for. Protect the player in the short term so that you have them available and fully fit for the long term. It looks like this approach has worked well with Cunha. What Ruben Amorim has said. Ruben Amorim, the Manchester United manager, has been providing updates on Matheus Cunha's fitness situation. His comments give us valuable insight into the player's recovery progress and when we might see him back in action for the team. The optimistic update before Crystal Palace. Before the Crystal Palace game on Sunday, Ruben Amorim spoke to the media and gave an update on Cunha's situation. According to the information we have, Amorim said that he expected to have Matheus in the next one. The next one after Crystal Palace would be the West Ham game on Thursday evening. This was an encouraging comment for Manchester United fans to hear. It told them that Cunha was progressing well in his recovery. It suggested that the injury was healing as expected and that there had been no setbacks or complications. And it gave fans hope that they would see Cunha back in the squad very soon. When a manager says he expects to have a player available for a specific game, it usually means that player has been hitting all the right markers in their recovery. They have been responding well to treatment. Their training sessions have been going well. The medical staff are happy with their progress. All of these factors combine to give the manager confidence that the player will be ready. This kind of communication from the manager is important. It manages expectations. It gives fans information about what to expect. And it shows that there is a clear plan in place for the player's return rather than just hoping for the best and seeing what happens. Press conference on Wednesday. The report mentions that Amorim was scheduled to hold a pre-match press conference on Wednesday afternoon at 13:30 Greenwich Mean Time. This press conference would be the manager's opportunity to preview the West Ham game, discuss tactics, and provide the latest team news including an update on Cunha's fitness. Pre-match press conferences are a regular part of football. Managers have to face the media before every game and answer questions about the team, the opposition, injuries, and various other topics. For fans and journalists, these press conferences are valuable sources of information. In this particular press conference, United fans would have been waiting eagerly to hear what Amorim had to say about Matheus Cunha. Would he confirm that Cunha is available for selection? Would he say whether Cunha might start or be on the bench? Would there be any concerns about match fitness after missing 2 games? The fact that Cunha was spotted training with the group on Wednesday morning would have given Amorim positive news to share in the press conference. If Cunha was still not training or was doing separate fitness work, Amorim would have had to say he is still not available. But with Cunha back training with the team, Amorim could give supporters the good news they wanted to hear. Press conferences can sometimes be a bit frustrating because managers do not always give detailed information about team selection. They like to keep some things private so they do not give too much away to the opposition. But at the very least, fans would have been hoping for confirmation that Cunha is in contention to be involved against West Ham in some capacity. Reading between the lines. When managers talk about player fitness, you often have to read between the lines a bit. They do not always say exactly what they mean. They might be deliberately vague to keep the opposition guessing. They might be managing expectations so that fans do not get too disappointed if things do not work out exactly as hoped. When Amorim said he expected to have Cunha available for the West Ham game, that was a positive statement. But it does not necessarily mean Cunha will definitely start. It could mean he will be on the bench. It could mean he is available if needed, but Amorim might choose not to use him. The exact role Cunha plays against West Ham will depend on many factors. Amorim will be thinking about match fitness. Cunha has not played a competitive game in a couple of weeks. Is he sharp enough to start? Or would it be better to ease him back in as a substitute? These are the kinds of decisions managers have to make when players return from injury. Amorim will also be thinking about tactics and team selection. The team won at Crystal Palace without Cunha. Joshua Zirkzee and Mason Mount scored the goals. Does Amorim stick with the winning team? Or does he make changes to bring Cunha back in? There is an old saying in football that you do not change a winning team, but great managers know when to break that rule. Whatever Amorim decides, the key point is that Cunha is back and available. He is an option. Whether he starts, comes off the bench, or is held back for a future game, having him fit and ready is a boost for Manchester United. The significance of training at Carrington. The report tells us that Matheus Cunha was spotted with the Manchester United group who trained at Carrington on Wednesday. This training session is significant for several reasons. Let's talk about what happens at Carrington and why being back training with the group is such an important step in a player's return from injury. What is Carrington? For those who might not know, Carrington is Manchester United's training complex. It is located in Carrington, which is in Greater Manchester, about 10 miles from Old Trafford. This is where the first team trains every day. It is where tactics are worked on, where players develop their fitness, and where the team prepares for matches. Carrington is a state-of-the-art facility with everything a modern football team needs. There are multiple training pitches, indoor facilities for when the weather is bad, a gym, medical rooms, recovery facilities, and much more. Top clubs invest heavily in their training facilities because this is where the real work happens. Match days are important, but it is the daily work at the training ground that determines how successful a team will be. For Manchester United players, Carrington is their workplace. They report there almost every day. They spend hours there training, having meetings, eating meals together, and preparing for the next game. It is where team spirit is built and where the hard work happens away from the cameras and crowds. From rehab to team training. When a player gets injured, their daily routine changes dramatically. Instead of training with the team, they work with the medical and fitness staff on rehabilitation. Rehab work is important, but it is also isolating. You are not with your teammates. You are not doing normal football training. You are doing exercises and treatments designed to help your injury heal. The goal of rehab is always to get back to team training as quickly and safely as possible. There are usually stages in this process. First, you might be doing very gentle movements just to maintain some activity. Then as the injury heals, you start doing more specific exercises to rebuild strength and mobility. Eventually, you start doing running and football-specific movements. And finally, when the medical staff are happy, you rejoin team training. Matheus Cunha being spotted training with the Manchester United group on Wednesday means he has completed all those earlier stages of rehab. The medical staff have assessed him and decided he is ready to do normal team training again. This is a big milestone in any player's recovery from injury. What match preparation training involves? The training session that Cunha joined on Wednesday would have been specifically focused on preparing for the West Ham game on Thursday. Match preparation training is quite specific and different from regular training sessions earlier in the week. In match preparation training, the coaching staff work on tactical elements that will be important in the upcoming game. They might practice set pieces, both attacking and defending. They might work on specific patterns of play designed to exploit weaknesses in the opposition. They might do shape work where players practice their positioning and movement in the system the manager wants to use. There is usually also a focus on keeping things relatively light in terms of physical intensity. You do not want to tire players out the day before a match. The goal is to keep them sharp and focused, make sure everyone understands the game plan, and then let them rest and recover before the match. For Cunha, being involved in this match preparation training is significant. It means he understands what Amorim wants for the West Ham game. He knows the tactics. He has worked on the game plan with his teammates. If Amorim decides to use him in the match, Cunha will be fully prepared and will know exactly what is expected of him. The psychological boost. Beyond the physical and tactical aspects, being back training with the group provides a psychological boost for an injured player. Injuries can be mentally tough. You miss playing the sport you love. You miss being with your teammates. You worry about losing your place in the team. You wonder if you will come back at the same level. When you finally get cleared to rejoin team training, it is a huge relief. You are back with your friends and colleagues. You are doing proper football training again instead of rehab exercises. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel and know that you will be playing matches again soon. This psychological lift can be just as important as the physical recovery. For Matheus Cunha, being back at Carrington training with the team must feel great. He has come through his injury. He is ready to contribute again. He can start thinking about playing matches rather than worrying about when his injury will heal. This positive mindset will help him perform well when he does return to action. What his return means for team selection. Now that Matheus Cunha is back training with the squad, Ruben Amorim has some decisions to make about team selection for the West Ham game and beyond. Let's explore the options and what factors might influence Amorim's thinking. The dilemma of the winning team. There is a classic dilemma in football management. When your team wins a game, do you stick with the same starting 11 for the next match? Or do you make changes to bring in players who are now available after injury or suspension? The traditional view is that you do not change a winning team. If the players who started the last game got a victory, they have earned the right to start again. Changing things when the team is winning can disrupt the momentum and the understanding that is developing. It can also send a negative message to the players who did well in the previous game. However, modern football is more complex than simple rules like do not change a winning team. Managers have to consider many factors. Player fitness and freshness is important, especially with so many games in a short period. Squad rotation helps prevent injuries and keeps everyone sharp. Sometimes tactical considerations mean you need different players for different opponents. In this specific situation, Ruben Amorim has to decide whether to stick with the team that beat Crystal Palace or to make changes to accommodate Matheus Cunha's return. Both options have merit, and there is no obviously right answer. The case for starting Cunha. Let's first consider the arguments for starting Matheus Cunha against West Ham if he is fully fit and ready. First, Cunha is simply a very good player. When you have quality available, you should use it. If Amorim believes that Cunha is one of United's best attacking players, then logically he should be in the starting 11 when fit. Second, Cunha offers qualities that might be particularly useful against West Ham. His creativity and ability to unlock tight defenses could be crucial if West Ham set up defensively. His versatility means Amorim could use him in different positions depending on how the game develops. Third, starting Cunha sends a message about squad depth and competition for places. It shows that nobody's place in the team is guaranteed. If you are not playing well, you will be dropped even after a win. This keeps everyone on their toes and maintains high standards across the squad. Fourth, Cunha needs match time to get back to his best. The only way to regain match sharpness after an injury layoff is to play matches. Starting him against West Ham would help him get back up to speed quickly. The case for using him as a substitute. Now let's consider the arguments for having Matheus Cunha on the bench and potentially bringing him on during the game. First, Cunha has missed 2 games and has only just returned to training. Is he match fit? Match fitness is different from training fitness. The intensity of a competitive game, especially in the Premier League, is higher than training. Using Cunha as a substitute would ease him back in gently. Second, the team that beat Crystal Palace deserves another chance to show what they can do. Joshua Zirkzee and Mason Mount both scored in that game. They performed well. Dropping them immediately after a good performance seems harsh and could damage their confidence. Third, having Cunha on the bench gives Amorim a powerful weapon to use if needed. If the game is tight and United need a goal, bringing on a fresh Cunha in the second half could be the difference. Coming on against tired defenders when you are fresh and sharp is a big advantage. Fourth, this approach manages the risk better. If Cunha starts and struggles because he is not quite match fit yet, it could affect the whole team's performance. If he comes on as a substitute for 20 or 30 minutes, the risk is lower and you can assess how he looks before giving him bigger responsibilities. What Amorim might do. If I had to predict what Ruben Amorim will do, I would guess that Matheus Cunha will be on the bench for the West Ham game rather than starting. This seems like the sensible middle ground that balances all the different considerations. Amorim can start with the team that won at Crystal Palace, showing faith in those players and maintaining momentum. But he has Cunha available as an option if the game requires it. If United are struggling to break West Ham down, Amorim can bring Cunha on to provide some creativity. If United are winning comfortably, he might bring Cunha on for the final 20 minutes just to give him some match time and help him regain sharpness. This approach also protects Cunha from being asked to do too much too soon. Bringing him back gradually reduces the risk of re-injury and gives him the best chance of getting back to his best level quickly. Of course, we will have to wait and see what Amorim actually decides. Managers sometimes surprise us with their selections. But based on the information available and the principles of good squad management, having Cunha on the bench seems like the most likely option for the West Ham game. Looking beyond West Ham. Even if Cunha does not start against West Ham, his return to fitness is important for the games that come after. December is a busy month with lots of fixtures. United will need to rotate their squad and use different players in different games. Having Cunha back means Amorim has more options for all these upcoming matches. Maybe Cunha comes off the bench against West Ham, then starts the next game. Maybe he is eased back slowly with substitute appearances in multiple games before returning to the starting lineup. The exact path will depend on how he looks in training, how the team is performing, and what Amorim thinks is best. The key point is flexibility. Amorim now has more choices. He can pick different teams for different opponents. He can rest players when they need it. He can respond to injuries or loss of form by bringing in fresh options. This is what squad depth is all about, and Cunha being back strengthens United's squad considerably. The West Ham challenge. Now let's turn our attention to the opposition. Manchester United face West Ham United on Thursday evening at Old Trafford. This is an important game for several reasons, and understanding the challenge that West Ham pose helps explain why having players like Cunha available is so valuable. A difficult recent history. The report contains some concerning information for Manchester United fans about this fixture. It tells us that West Ham are aiming for a third straight league win against United for the first time since December 2007. Let me repeat that because it is quite shocking when you think about it. West Ham want to beat Manchester United 3 times in a row in the league, which they have not done since 2007. This stat tells us that West Ham have had the better of this fixture recently. The report also mentions that West Ham did the double over United last season, meaning they beat United both at Old Trafford and at the London Stadium. For a club of Manchester United's size and history, this is embarrassing. When a team has a good recent record against you, it creates a psychological challenge. The West Ham players will come to Old Trafford believing they can win. They will not be intimidated. They will be confident because they have done it before. This makes them a more dangerous opponent than they might otherwise be. Manchester United absolutely must break this pattern. They cannot allow West Ham to beat them 3 times in a row. They cannot let this fixture become one where they are the underdogs. United need to reassert their superiority and show that they are the bigger, better team. The historical context. The report gives us some historical context by mentioning that the last time West Ham won 3 straight league games against Manchester United was in December 2007. That was a very long time ago. To put it in perspective, that was during Sir Alex Ferguson's era. United went on to win the league that season despite losing to West Ham. For most of the past 18 years, Manchester United have been the dominant team in this fixture. They have usually beaten West Ham comfortably. The recent struggles against West Ham are an aberration, not the norm. Throughout the Premier League era and even before that, United have generally had the upper hand when these two teams meet. This historical context should give Manchester United confidence. The long-term record heavily favours United. Yes, West Ham have had some success recently, but that does not change the fundamental reality that United are a bigger club with more resources and usually better players. However, history means nothing if you do not perform on the day. United cannot just assume they will win because they have usually beaten West Ham in the past. They need to go out and prove they are the better team through their performance on the pitch. The Nuno Espirito Santo factor. The report mentions that West Ham are managed by Nuno Espirito Santo, who is described as a compatriot of Ruben Amorim. Both managers are Portuguese, which adds an interesting element to this match. Nuno is an experienced Premier League manager. He previously managed Wolverhampton Wanderers and had considerable success there, leading them to promotion and then establishing them as a solid Premier League team. He also had a spell at Tottenham Hotspur, though that was less successful. Now he is at West Ham and will be looking to continue building on the recent good results. The fact that both managers are Portuguese does not really matter in terms of the actual game, but it gives the media something to talk about. There might be some tactical similarities in how they approach the game given their shared football culture. But ultimately, each manager will be trying to get 3 points for their team regardless of where they come from. What matters more is that Nuno will have West Ham well organised and difficult to beat. He is a good coach who knows the Premier League well. He will have studied Manchester United's recent games carefully. He will know their strengths and weaknesses. He will set up his team in a way that tries to exploit United's vulnerabilities while minimising their own. This is why United need all their best players available. They will be facing a well-coached team with confidence from recent good results. It will not be easy, and having quality options like Matheus Cunha to call upon could be crucial. West Ham's current form. While the report does not give us detailed information about West Ham's current league position or recent form, we know they will be coming to Old Trafford with confidence given their recent record in this fixture. West Ham are typically a mid-table Premier League team. They have ambitions of pushing for European qualification, but usually finish somewhere between 7th and 14th in the table. They have some good players and can be difficult to beat on their day, but they are not consistent enough to challenge for the top 4. However, cup competitions and individual fixtures can be different from overall league performance. West Ham might not be having the best season overall, but they clearly enjoy playing against Manchester United and have had success in this specific fixture recently. This is something United need to be aware of. They cannot underestimate West Ham. They cannot assume this will be an easy game. They need to be fully focused and ready for a tough challenge. Complacency would be very dangerous. The importance of Thursday's match. This game is huge for Manchester United for several reasons. First and most obviously, they need 3 points to keep climbing the Premier League table. United are currently 7th and need to keep winning to get into the top 4 and qualify for the Champions League. Every point matters, especially against teams you are competing with for those European places. Second, United need to end this poor run of results against West Ham. 3 losses in a row would be unacceptable. It would damage confidence. It would raise questions about the team's mentality and whether they have what it takes to compete with anyone who really tests them. United must show they can beat a team that has caused them problems recently. Third, this game is at Old Trafford. Home games are precious. You are expected to win them. The fans are there supporting you. You have the advantage of familiar surroundings. Losing at home, especially to a team like West Ham, would be a real blow to morale and momentum. Fourth, the timing is important. This is the first game of December, the final month of the calendar year. Starting December with a win would set a positive tone for a busy month ahead. Starting December with a loss or draw would create negativity and pressure. For all these reasons, Thursday's match against West Ham is absolutely crucial. United must win. There are no excuses. And having Matheus Cunha back and available, even if just as a substitute option, strengthens United's chances of getting the result they desperately need. The bigger picture: squad depth and injury management. The story of Matheus Cunha's injury and return highlights some broader themes about squad depth and injury management that are crucial to success in modern football. Let's explore these themes and understand why they matter so much. Why squad depth matters. In modern football, you cannot compete at the highest level with just 11 good players. You need a squad of at least 20.